Hey guys, so this video might be a little bit of a long one because it's a really good question for a very specific niche. And the question that's come in is, which strategy should I follow to generate software sales and get my future potential customers on social media? So there's so much to this, and I want to try to keep it as focused and I guess as linear as possible. What I don't know is if it's consumer software or if it's business software. So I'm going to try to be as holistic as possible. I'm going to presume that, let's just say it's business software or something that a business person would be more inclined to use. Is sort of what I'll lean towards from an answer perspective. Consumer software, so things that consumers would use regularly in their lives, apps they might play with or whatever. There's so many different ways of activating or strategizing that audience or the consumer audience, and typically takes a very different approach depending on the software. So I don't have any context on the software, but what I want to do is lean towards that business style software. So first of all, this question's loaded in that this person feels that social media is the best, is the channel where they presume they're going to activate their customers. And I want to challenge that. In particular, if it were business software, I actually think there's a lot more, if you're thinking about social media channels, then LinkedIn would be obviously your primary one. However, engaging with them on social, is that necessarily the best strategy? Where I would beg to differ is that in the business environment, social media and say on LinkedIn is really good for adding value, for telling your stories, creating the narrative around, say, what happens in business, maybe perhaps the challenges that businesses face, which is where this software is coming from. And I want to use this as an example. Is one of the businesses that I'm a co-founder of is called Movable. If you want to check it out, it's movable.com.au, and we have two sides of that business. The first side of Movable is the software component, where we've created a basic CRM and sales tool to help removal companies manage their loads, upload their trips, schedule their jobs, quote their jobs, and then obviously deliver those jobs. It's got an app that's attached to it, which allows them to track their tracks. It allows them to track their trucks, and those trucks are traveling all around Australia, so it helps them know where they're at any given time. That app has the ability to notify the customer to let them know that the truck's on their way. So it's a really cool piece of software that's helping removal companies who have tended to either buy sort of the mass-produced software that's out there, or just use a lot of primitive systems such as pen and paper still, logbooks, and even maybe Excel spreadsheets or Word documents. So we've helped make that process a lot easier for them to manage. What we found there is the best way of effectively selling that software has revolved around a few different areas. So the first was actually speaking to them firsthand. So speaking to these businesses, doing the research, making the phone calls, and just understanding their interest in their pain points or the pain points that they're facing in managing their businesses, and teasing out if a piece of software that answers those questions or solve those problems, I should say, is relevant and would be of value to them. So that was the first step. By doing that, it enabled us to validate the software opportunity. But as part of that process, what it also meant, and yes, it's manual, yes, it's laborious, but this is what you need to do if you're taking something to market, is you build that database. So we were able to get emails during those conversations. That now gives us a database that we can begin to follow them up with. So then what we did was we followed them up with a series of emails once the software was ready. We said, hey, we'd love you to check it out. You gave us your time to give us that feedback. How would you like to test it? How would you like to have a go at playing with the software? It's free of charge. We just want you to tell us where it could be improved, or any faults, or any bugs, or any challenges or issues you face with it. We really want to make it good for the industry. So that's what we did. So we built it. It was quite a manual process. We hadn't even touched the social media, and still to this day haven't really activated social media yet for the removal side of things, because these guys are busy running trucks, they're busy running their businesses, they're not sitting there enjoying the consumption of content per se. They are literally working from load to load to load, taking calls, booking trips, understanding where their trucks are going, talking to their fleets, talking to the customers. So it's quite involved. So the value there was in having the one-to-one conversations, so very tactical, getting that database, so building those email addresses. Then from there, being able to get them to test the product, rolling it out, and using email marketing to help have that conversation. And then finally, using Google, using pay-per-click for those that are proactively searching or looking for a solution to run their business. We then had pay-per-click advertising, which was allowing us to build interest and drive leads. So through our pay-per-click, people, removalist companies, were signing up to the platform as well. So yes, social media might be something we do a little bit later, but the real value in that one-to-one for the removalist companies, business-based software sales, was very much a strategic marketing process, from the face-to-face through to the digital activation and pay-per-click advertising. So maybe that gives you a bit of insight as to how you can take that to market. The other thing that I would suggest, in particular with business software, is and the one thing that you do want to really focus in on is that database. So depending on what scale or how you want to sell that software, and maybe what the cost is, who the target audience is. This could really vary. If there's senior decision makers that would use the software, then there's a different approach to if, say, assistants were using the software potentially. So you might want to think through who exactly it is that would be using this software on a daily basis, presumably, and then thinking about or asking them the question of where their attention is. So what do they do? How do they act? What time do they spend on various platforms? What would compel them to use this software? There is so much software. There's an app for everything out there these days. What will make your one different? What's the value? Why would they part with money? You need to ask yourself those questions first, before you try and go mass market or try to get them on social. The other thing you can do, and this is where social does come in handy, is once you've established a customer base or a few people, it might be 5, 10, 15, 20 people testing, using the software free of charge, letting you know, giving you feedback, that's actually the point in time where starting a Facebook group and a community online for the users of your software then becomes valuable. So what you can then do is control that community and give them value in, hey, do you know this hack? Have you used this function? Did you know the software can do this? Look, now it integrates with this. So it's a great way of keeping those people who have been loyal to your software, to your product, keeping them engaged in a way that drives value to them. And it also fosters a community where if the software is fairly technical or has a lot of variables to it, it enables the community to talk together about solving the problems or the challenges they face, maybe in using the software, or how they use the software in a really productive way, say, for their businesses. So I hope that helps. If the software is consumer-based, I'm happy to do another video on how to market consumer-based software, but that's a general strategy. Get super tactical, get frontline, ring the people, talk to them face to face. I think that's where a lot of businesses go wrong in the software space, is they think about the software, they come up with this amazing idea, yet they aren't talking to or physically selling or having those face-to-face discussions with the market. They think by creating software, marketing on social media that they're just going to get this mass influx of people. And unfortunately, I've seen a lot of businesses fail in that context where there's no connection with the community, or they all like the idea, but they haven't been taken on the journey of using the software, how that software would apply to them, and then getting them regularly using it. So have those conversations, do it at scale, communicate with them regularly. Yes, use advertising to build your database, but the database is the key for software sales. I hope that helps.